In February, Leon Panetta created and you endorsed the Distinguished Warfare Medal.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, a new Secretary of Defense comes in. There's a big Sturm und Drang about it. And all of a sudden, he's appointed you to re-review the notion of this new kind of medal. And 2 weeks ago, with your endorsement, he came out and basically said, forget it, it's not a medal, it's a distinguishing device, it's going to piggyback on top. So the whole issue of precedence even goes away. What happened?
What happened? Well, for one thing, I think as a first principle, I think we have to remember that the challenge that Secretary Panetta gave us was to recognize the contributions of those who may be remote from the battlefield but having significant impact on the battlefield. So we stayed true to that principle. Our initial swing at this, if you will, to use a baseball metaphor, was that a separate medal would be preferable. And we had consensus among the Joint Chiefs in that regard. And then we talked about precedence. And the precedence, of course, became kind of the third rail, actually. And when we realized that the discussion of precedence was kind of overwhelming the first principle, which was, hey, look, we really need to recognize these guys and gals, we decided at the request of Secretary Hagel to go back and look at, could we remove this concern about precedence and still recognize those who are serving around the globe, but not necessarily in Afghanistan, Iraq, or wherever. And we found that the issue of a device that could be affixed to literally any medal now got us beyond the third rail of precedence. And so we decided that that was a better solution. Because, you know, by the way, we took input from the field, whether it was through veteran support organizations, but also, believe it or not, I have a persona in the blogosphere, and my persona in the blogosphere was getting beaten rather severely on this issue. And so we realized that we either had it wrong or we didn't roll it out correctly, but one way or the other, we didn't want to lose the first principle, which was let's recognize these young men and women. Now, as it turns out, in FY14, we're going to have another complete review of medals and precedents. And the issue might come back up, and at some point we might go down the path of a separate medal. But for now, we think that the device provides a better answer.